Generally, survival games are more focused on experience than story, but that doesn't always have to be the case. As you'll find with the games on this list, some survival games do a fantastic job of giving the player a reason to survive through their narratives.
I'm no hero. I'm just looking for someone. I'm doing my best to survive in the meantime.
First is Subnautica, a pretty unique survival game in that there's next to no combat involved. Stranded on an unexplored planet, the player is tasked with escaping, and while that initially seems easy, they soon discover that the planet was quarantined after being infested with strange alien bacteria, meaning that to escape, the protagonist must learn more about the planet's history, find a cure, and shut down the quarantine. Then is The Forest and its sequel, Sons of the Forest. While the first game's plot starts out pretty simple, with you being the only survivor of a plane crash looking for your son who's been kidnapped by mutated locals, it's a great example of a game using its survival mechanics to make the player feel vulnerable, with cannibals lurking around every corner and the story taking you to increasingly dangerous areas. Sons of the Forest, releasing 5 years later, has a pretty similar story, but expands on the gameplay immensely. The Long Dark story mode is split over 5 chapters, but because fans are still waiting on the 5th and final one to release in late 2024, we'll avoid spoilers for now. In general terms though, the playable character crash lands while helping on a mysterious mission, with each chapter focused on uncovering the truth about what happened to the world before the game's events. Green Hell is mostly known as one of the most realistic survival games ever made, but behind its tough-as-nails exterior lies a surprisingly narrative-driven affair. Much like other games on this list, the protagonist is looking for his wife, Mia, and scours every inch of Green Hell's map to find her. While Pathologic II is technically a survival horror game, it puts much more emphasis on traditional survival mechanics than other games in the genre. But at the same time, it's also much more structured than most survival games, featuring a story made up of 4 acts spread over 12 in-game days, with each day forcing players to make tough moral decisions that tie into the multiple potential endings. We Happy Few is set in an alternate history 1960s authoritarian England, where the general populace is constantly medicated with a narcotic called joy, and anyone who refuses to take it is hunted down and imprisoned. The game features 3 protagonists, each of which has their own narrative that eventually all link up with each other. And finally, now that Grounded is out of alpha, it's a much more narrative-driven experience than it was at first. The game follows 4 teenagers who have been accidentally shrunk and are now trapped in their backyard garden, surrounded by oversized dangers. Story-wise, it centers around them surviving day to day while searching for a way to return to normal size. And that's about it for our list. Thank you so much for watching, and go to GameRant.com for even more like this.